And a very special good afternoon to you, and welcome to this special broadcast of University of Iowa softball. It's the annual Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series between the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Iowa State Cyclones, this being the 17th season in all. Iowa won the last time that they competed in the 2019-20 series, 13-8, and leads the all-time series at 8 wins to Iowa State's 7, and there was one tie. It was paused a year ago in the 2021 season as the COVID-19 restrictions prevented the teams from meeting in this head-to-head matchups. But today, an interesting matchup between these two, as both are having a tough time in their respective conference, as the Iowa State Cyclones come in with a 21-24 overall record, and they are 2-10 in the Big 12 conference, coming off of humbling losses to top-ranked and defending national champion Oklahoma, although Iowa State did give Oklahoma a tussle on Friday 6-4, but lost the doubleheader on Saturday 9-0 and 9-0, both of those games in 5 innings. So they come in with a 21-24 overall record, whereas the Iowa Hawkeyes 2-15 in the Big Ten Conference and in last place in that Big Ten, and only the top 12 teams will go to the Big Ten Conference. Iowa at 19-25 overall, coming off of the weekend that they spent in Champaign, Illinois. They lost 2 of 3 games. The first game at 4-2, but the Hawks were making a run at Illinois on that Friday afternoon game. And then Saturday, the doubleheader, Iowa would win in 9 innings, getting 5 runs in the top of the 9th inning to take a 7-2 lead. They gave up a run in the bottom of the 9th to Illinois, but Iowa would win that game 7-3. And then on the second game of that doubleheader, Illinois built a 5-0 lead. And then Iowa scores 4 times in the top of the 7th inning, had runners at second and third when the third out occurred. So are these teams surging? Are these teams are they getting a little bit better? I believe, especially for Iowa, that they are finally finding themselves with all of the young talent that they are putting out on the field, and even at in the circle for head coach Renee Gillespie. Again, Iowa 19-25 and 2-15 in the Big Ten, and Iowa State at 21-24. They're 2-12 in the Big 12. We'll come back and set the pace for today's Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk series between Iowa and Iowa State, with the winner of today's game guaranteeing the winner for their institution on the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk series this year.
Anything can happen when the Cyclones and Hawkeyes come to compete. It's where the rubber meets the road. Neighbors become rivals and friends become foes. Some go home broken-hearted, while others are victorious. When the dust finally settles, one thing stands true. No matter which side you're on, you're part of tradition. For those who are Iowan through and through, we're Iowa Corn, a proud sponsor of the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series. In Iowa, we grow corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa.
And in the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series, throughout the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series, Iowa Corn promotes honest, hardworking values that are uniquely Iowan. On behalf of Iowa's corn farmers, we salute all fans and athletes on their hard work and determination to be the best both on and off the field. Just like our top athletes, our state leads the nation in corn and ethanol production. Follow Iowa Corn to learn how corn grows Iowa. Iowa State leads the 2021-22 series at 12 wins to 11. Iowa State has won men's and women's cross country, men's and women's basketball, women's swimming, and women's tennis. Iowa has won women's soccer, football, volleyball, wrestling, and in women's gymnastics. Now what happens is the series awards 2 points to the winning school in each head-to-head matchup, except for football, which is worth 3. Additionally, 1 point is awarded to an institution if the graduation rate of its student athletes is greater than the national average, as reported each fall by the NCAA. So again, it's Iowa State leading at 12-11, and again, the winner of this game will get 2 points. And for sure, if Iowa would win the game, they would win the Iowa Corn Cyhawk series 13-12 this season, if Iowa State is to win, it would be a 14-11 win for Iowa State. Iowa softball does own an 8-6 lead in this Iowa Corn Cyhawk series, so there's even some of that goes into play for today's matchup. Iowa State, though, has won the last two matchups. We await the start of this softball game between Iowa and Iowa State. Always a really good series between the two as Iowa State and Iowa. The series is such that Iowa leads it 33-32 with a couple of ties in their last meeting back on April 9th of 2019. Iowa State won it 2-0. Jamie Pinkerton is in his fifth season coaching the Iowa State Cyclones and has certainly raised the level of play for this Cyclone softball team and in the league that they do play in. It's a team that really hits the ball very well, has some good pitching. As a matter of fact, they return all of their key pitching from a year ago that went to the NCAA tournament for just the second time in school history. The first time was 1988. That was when they went to 0-2 in that tournament series. Iowa State led by Carly Spellhog at the plate. She has a sister that's also on the team. Ellie does some pitching for Iowa State and won't be in the circle to start today, but Ellie is the top pitcher for this Iowa State softball team. The Iowa Hawkeyes coming in led by Nia Carter at the plate with a .419 average, and Nia in the Big Ten is a third in the Big Ten in batting. She has 57 hits for the Hawks. Sophia Morris, the junior National Junior College Player of the Year a year ago, has performed very well and is really coming on strong here as of late. Denali Lecker has been popping home runs and throwing well in the circle. Tristan Doster, the freshman, she'll be behind the plate here today. Briley Klosterman out of North Liberty will be leading off for the Hawks per usual. So we are still await the start of this game. And we'll get the play-by-play action for you coming up right here on the University of Iowa Hawkeye Sports Radio Network YouTube channel.
Looking for a place to go before and after Hawkeye home games? Make a night of it at Graduate Iowa City Hotel. Take advantage of our in-house Topgolf Swing Suite for a full bar and a menu of American classics, and most importantly, a selection of exciting virtual games from favorites like golf, football, and baseball to more unique options like zombie dodgeball. Call 319-337-4058 for details and reservations at Graduate Iowa City Hotel.
Still awaiting the start of this Iowa State softball game from Ames Cyclone Sports Facility. And Briley Klosterman at the plate for the Hawks. The Hawks in their full black uniform today in the pants and top jersey. It's Briley Klosterman again stepping up at the plate. And she's working against Iowa State's pitcher in the circle, Saya Swain. And Saya Swain comes in having pitched 79 in the third inning. She, the number 2 pitcher for the Iowa State Cyclones, 81 hits. She's given up 57 runs. 51 of them have been earned, and a 4.50 ERA and 6-4 on the season. Working against Briley Klosterman now. She is behind in the count. I'd say Briley is ahead in the count at 3 balls and 1 strike. Just a beautiful day in Ames today. 52 degrees with winds out of the west-northwest at about 10 miles per hour. Finally getting a little bit of wonderful sunshine to play. It's still a little bit cool. Here's one that's bounced right to second base. And quickly from Casey Simpson over to Angelina Allen for the first out of this Iowa State, Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series version of 2022. That'll bring up Nia Carter. Nia Carter hitting .419, and she looks at a pitch that's called strike one. Nia in the Illinois series last weekend had a couple of hits in 10 at-bats. Had 2 RBI triple in the series, helping that Iowa team win that game number 2 with those 5 runs in the top of the 9th inning. She's even in the count here now in 1 ball and 1 strike. Brianna Vasquez will be in the circle for the Hawks today. Saya Swain, just a sophomore for Jamie Pinkerton and Iowa State. Here's the 1-1 that's down and away, so it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Nia started off the season hitting safely in 13 of her first 15 games. Had a number of multi-hit games, 7 of them, all 2-hit games during that stretch. Here is the 2-1 that she'll lace down the left field line, and it is foul. And Nia, though, has had some exceptional games here this season. She went 5 for 5 in the Houston game, and that tied a single-game hits record that matched what Christy Hebert did back in 1995. Even count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here is the 2-2 that she rips out in front of and hits it foul. Liz Watkins back in 2012. And a young lady by the name of Macias in the early 2000s. All had 5-hit games, and Nia Carter tied that in the Houston game. Here's the 2-2 to Nia Carter. That's up and away. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes on the junior out of Rancho Cucamonga, California, welcoming their parents and family members listening in here today on ESPN Plus, not on BTN Plus. Due that it's an out-of-conference game in Ames this afternoon. Here are the 3-2, a pitch that is called strike 3. She probably thought it was a little bit low, but it was right down the middle, so that's the first strikeout of the game for Saya Swain. And for Swain on the season, she's recording her 109th strikeout. That'll bring up Denali Lecker. Lecker had quite the weekend in Illinois. She was on the field an awful lot. Here's the first pitch to her that's up and away. Against Illinois, Denali credited with 2 hits, and both of them were home runs. She had 3 runs batted in, and she also was walked twice. Here's the 1-0 to her. It's an off-speed pitch. Hits the outside corner, so it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Denali coming into the game today with a .282 average, 31 hits, 110 at-bats, 4 doubles, a triple, and 9 home runs. Here's the 1-1 offering from Swain, a pitch that's called strike 2. Those pitches are just low enough that it could be called balls and yet high enough that they're right there in the strike zone. Denali with 24 RBIs to lead this team in runs batted in. She leads the team in home runs with 9. Iowa on the season with 24 home runs. Here's the 1-2 from Swain, and it's up and away, so it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Denali hit a home run in the first game on Friday. That a solo shot that brought the Hawks to within 2 runs at 4-2. Here now is the 2-2 from Saya Swain, an off-speed pitch that she'll ground over to shortstop, and no play. Good spot for that hit to go as Alicia Ranches had no play. She had to go to her right a couple of strides, and even by the time she backhanded it, picked it up, Denali Lecker already at first base, and so Ranches just decides to hang on to it and give up the single. So a 2-out single for Denali Lecker. We'll bring up the first baseman and the cleanup hitter in Kalena Burns. Burns in the weekend at Illinois with 1 hit. Here's the first pitch she hits out into right center field, and it's going to go off the base of the wall. Around second goes Denali Lecker, and around third and coming home to score is Denali Lecker on the RBI double by Kalena Burns, and the Iowa Hawkeyes off to an early lead in this Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk series. She got a pitch out on the outside, got around on it, hit between right and center field. It bounced off the base of the fence and the ground, and Denali Lecker was trucking around second on her way to third. And head coach Renee Gillespie not at all holding her up there at third. Hawks can get off to a good start here. So Kalena Burns, it was the Hawks a 1-0 lead on the RBI double, scoring Denali Lecker. Brings up Sophia Morris. Morris, the junior out of Johnston, played her first couple of years in the junior college ranks at Des Moines Area Community College, where last year she was the National Junior College Athletic Association Player of the Year, leading the nation in 6 different offensive categories: runs with 105, hits with 117, home runs with 29, RBIs with 92, total bases of 234, and she walked 40 times. All of those were leading the junior college ranks last year for Sophia Morris. She really has been on a tear here as of recent. She had at least 1 hit in each of the Ohio State series in the first game of Illinois. She's up in the count here at 1 ball and no strikes. Here's one right down the middle, so it's 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 outs, and Iowa's top of the first inning. Iowa with a 1-0 lead. Kalena Burns with an RBI double, scoring Denali Lecker from first base. And it's Sophia Morris at the plate. Here's the 1-1 from Swain, a pitch that is upstairs. Nice tight strike zone, it seems, that for this home plate umpire. Sophia, again, had 2 hits in the opener at Illinois last Friday. That was the 4th of 4 consecutive games with at least 1 hit. Here is the 2-1 that's downstairs. 3 balls and 1 strike. She had 2 hits in that opener against Illinois. One of them a double, and she also walked in that opener, a game that the Hawks would lose 4-2. Here's the 3-1 to Sophie, and it's a strike on the outside corner. On the season, she has 8 multi-hit games. Well, back in late February through the first part of March, she had multi-hit games. Here's one that she lifts up just out to left center field, and coming in to make the catch in center field for Iowa State is Skylar Ramos, and that will end the Hawks in this top of the first inning. But Iowa gets a badly needed run to get things started. It was an RBI double by Kalena Burns to score Denali Lecker. Iowa leads a 1-0 heading into the bottom of the first inning. This is the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk series right here on the Hawkeye Sports Radio Network YouTube channel.
In Iowa, we grow corn, a lot of corn. We love seeing our farmers in the fields, and although they're perfect strangers, we know them. We know them by their equipment covered in dust. We know them by their work ethic, where days off don't exist. We know them by the way they wave, passing strangers alike on a 2-lane road. We know them in the midst of our kitchen as we prepare another family meal. In Iowa, we grow corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. The Iowa corn farmers are proud to be on the sidelines for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Welcome back to Cyclone Sports Facility. Beautiful stadium that they built 4 years ago for this Iowa State Cyclone softball team. Iowa leads at 1-0. Iowa City Tire and Service is a proud supporter of Hawkeye softball. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Iowa City Tire, where service actually comes first. You'll be hearing more from them throughout the remainder of this short softball season that's down to the last weekend, 2 weekends really, with the Northwestern Series this weekend, and the Hawks will finish the season at home against Purdue next weekend. Iowa City Tire will be sponsoring the Saturday game for the Iowa-Purdue series. 2 hits in that first top of the first inning for the Hawks. Gives them the 1-0 lead. An RBI double hit by Kalena Burns gives Iowa the 1-0 lead. Iowa will send Brianna Vasquez into the circle today. Brianna pitched a couple of times last weekend. She started in game 1 of the doubleheader on Saturday, going 7 innings, giving up 4 hits, 2 runs. 2 of them were earned. In that appearance, she walked 1 and struck out 8, really in command of her pitches at that time. On the season, she's had 102 2/3 innings, facing Carly Spellhog to begin the Iowa State at bat. This first Iowa State at bat for the Iowa State Cyclones. For Brianna Vasquez, she has given up 77 runs, 66 of them earned, thus a 4.50 ERA. She's down on the count now at 2 balls and no strikes. She's walked 48, struck out 84 opposing batters. And she's down on the count here now at 2 balls and no strikes. She the number 2 innings pitched pitcher for the Hawks. Here is the 2-0. That's called strike 1 right on the outside corner. So 2 balls and 1 strike to Carly Spellhog. Spellhog coming in the leading hitter on this Iowa State team with a .341 average. She is a junior left fielder, an off-speed pitch that she holds up on, but gets around on swing at it and fouls it back behind the backstop. So it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. In her .341 average, Spellhog with 46 hits and 135 at-bats. She also has scored 50 runs on the season, which is currently the 4th most in Cyclone history, so she's looking to creep her way up the charts for that particular record. And the 2-2 count now becomes 3 balls and 2 strikes. Carly with 12 doubles, 3 triples, and she has hit 6 home runs for the Cyclones this season. Again, the team of Iowa State has hit 40 home runs this season alone. Here is the off-speed. It's an upstairs pitch, and Carly Spellhog will draw an opening at-bat walk. Now, Hawks really going to have to watch out for Spellhog. She, my friends, has not been caught stealing a base in her career. Currently 41 attempts, 41 steals. This season alone, she has attempted 13 and stolen 13. We'll see how Tristan Doster, the freshman, will deal with her and what kind of pitch that she's going to get to begin with. You can darn well bet that Spellhog will be headed from first to second on an opportunity. Here's the first pitch from Brianna Vasquez, at a pitch that's right down the middle. And Michaela Ramos will take a cut at it and miss it. Ramos, the catcher for Iowa State, batting second and a senior. She the number 2 hitter in the lineup this year at .326, 45 hits, 138 at-bats, 9 doubles, a triple, and she with double-digit home runs at 13, so she's very capable of hitting the long ball. As a matter of fact, she leads the team in home runs and also with runs batted in. Count even at 1 ball and 1 strike. We're in the bottom of the first inning. Iowa State from Ames, 1-0 Iowa. Here's an off-speed pitch that is upstairs, so it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Not sure if some of the pitches being called here are in an attempt to keep Carly Spellhog from trying to steal second base. We'll see if this is a good pitch to do it on. 2 balls and 1 strike. Here's the offering from Brianna Vasquez, and it's hits Ramos in the left elbow. And this is the 5th time on the season that Michaela Ramos will be hit by a pitch. And it puts runners at first and second for the Cyclones. Nobody out. That brings up Angelina Allen, the number 3 hitter on the team, and the 3rd batter in the lineup for Iowa State. Angelina Allen batting .311 with 42 hits and 135 at-bats. She with 8 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 home runs. This is a ball-hitting Iowa State softball team. They had one of the more prolific players in the last 4 years who graduated the year ago, and Sammy Williams. He was an All-American for Iowa State. She could club the ball, had 82 hits last year for them. Certainly tough to fill for that, but as well, it's something for other particular softball players to step up and take over to try to fill for her. Seems that Spellhog and Michaela Ramos have done some of that so far, trying to find that one spark plug that has always been consistent at the plate. Angelina Allen, first pitch to her that she'll foul down the left field line and out of play. Allen, a .311 hitter, 42 hits, 135 at-bats, 8 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 home runs. As a matter of fact, each of the batters in the lineup for, here's one that's hit on the ground right to Amber Desenna at second. They try to get the double play to get Angelina Allen at first, but they cannot. So they get the force on Michaela Ramos. Angelina Allen will be at first base on the fielder's choice. It was a nice play by Amber Desenna, who's playing second base today, to get it over to Sophia Morris. Morris, you don't have a lot of time, man. You've got to get to it. It sends Spellhog to third base, where she sits right now, and there's one out in the Iowa State bottom of the first inning. They trail 1-0. Here is the first pitch to Malaysia Ochoa. She'll swing at it, foul it back behind the backstop. Ochoa herself at .281, 36 hits, 128 at-bats, 9 doubles, a triple. She with 4 home runs. Every batter in the Iowa State lineup has no less than 2 home runs on the season. Michaela Ramos, who batted here recently, has 13 of them. Here is the pitch to Malaysia Ochoa, and she will look at a ball. She was part of the 2021 All Big 12 freshman team. Again, they're just coming off of the weekend spent in Norman, Oklahoma, to face the top-ranked and defending champion Oklahoma Sooners. Here is the 1-1 just off the plate. Now it's 2 balls and 1 strike on Malaysia Ochoa. Carly Spellhog at third. She started off this at-bat with a walk. Angelina Allen just hit into a fielder's choice and is at first base. Brianna Vasquez in the circle and Tristan Doster behind the plate for the Hawks. Here is the 2-1 pitch, and a pitch that's an off-speed hit right at Amber Desenna. Out into the outfield, just past Desenna. And it scores Spellhog from third. Angelina Allen will go from first to third, and the single for Malaysia Ochoa ripped right to the left of Amber Desenna and out of the reach of Kalena Burns. As they're playing in a little bit, and it gets out to Nia Carter, who quickly gets it into the infield, but can't make a play at third base on Angelina Ochoa. So Ochoa will have an RBI single, which scores Carly Spellhog, and we've got a tie ball game at 1 apiece. It'll bring up Alicia Ranches. She'll take a swing and miss. And she's down on the count at 0 balls and 1 strike. Alicia Ranches, a .270 hitter, 33 hits and 122 at-bats, 7 doubles, a triple, and she with 5 home runs, 29 runs batted in. Has teammates at second and third and just 1 out. Here is the 0-1 to her that she hits out into right field, and it gets to the right of Nia Carter. Is going to roll all the way to the fence. Nia with it rips it in to the infield, and it's a stand-up double for Alicia Ranches. It scores Angelina Allen from second base and Malaysia Ochoa from first. And it's now a 3-0 lead for Iowa State. She got a good pitch to hit it out between Nia Carter and Briley Klosterman out in right center field. And the Cyclones, after watching Iowa score 1 in the top of the first, have come back now with 3 in the bottom of the first inning, and yet still only 1 out. At second base is Alicia Ranches, and for Ranches, it is the 8th double on the season. Iowa State now with its 72nd double on the season. That is 17th in the nation. That's a lot of doubles to be hit. That's usually what they look forward to, is, getting on base, but hitting doubles is pretty much a premium. Triples are hard to come by a lot, and you see a few of them. But doubles are what each softball team strives to hit. 3-1, Iowa State with the lead. We're in the bottom of the first inning. 0-1 count on Kaylee Pond. Pond tries to slap bunt it, and she misses. So it is No balls and 2 strikes on the sophomore third baseman, batting .266. 29 hits, 109 at bats, 7 doubles, 2 triples, and a couple of home runs. So the Hawks will have to be careful with her. Here's the 0-2 that becomes 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Kaylee Pond. At the plate, the left-handed hitter working against Bria Vasquez. Here's one that's hit to third. Nice play by Grace Bates to backhand it right inside the third base line, and then she had to fire one across the diamond to Kalena Burns, and it was on a skip, and Kalena does a nice job to catch it off of the bounce, and they get Kaylee Pond on a third to first out for the second out of the inning. And it leaves Alicia Ranchez at second base. But Iowa State leads this game at 3-1. And we're 2 outs in the bottom of the first inning. Here is the pitch from Vasquez out to left field, right to Riley Sheehy. And there's a play at the plate. Nice throw by Riley Sheehy to Tristan Doster to get Alicia Ranchez trying to score from second base. It was a short hit out to left field. Riley right in there on it, picks it right up, and a left-handed throw to Tristan Doster at the plate to get Alicia Ranchez. And that will end the Iowa State Cyclones here in the bottom of the first inning. But they get 3 important runs and take a 3-1 lead on the Iowa Hawkeyes here in the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series. When the Hawks come to bat in the top of the second inning, it'll be Grace Baines. It's 3-1 Iowa State. This is Iowa Hawkeye Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Radio Network YouTube channel.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
And Iowa City Tire will be with us sponsoring Purdue game in about 10 days in the last regular season weekend that the Hawks have when Purdue comes to town. After today, Iowa will be on the road to Evanston to face off against the 11th-ranked Northwestern Wildcats this coming weekend. Friday's game will be a 4 o'clock start, just like this one, a 4 o'clock start. Saturday at 1 and Sunday at noon. Saturday's game is a KXIC radio game. So if you want to tune into KXSE Radio, you certainly can do that. We'll be on the air at about 10 minutes before 1 o'clock on Saturday. Throughout the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series, Iowa Corn promotes honest, hardworking values that are uniquely Iowan. On behalf of Iowa's corn farmers, we salute all fans and athletes for their hard work and determination to be the best both on and off the field. Just like our top athletes, our state leads the nation in corn and ethanol production. Follow Iowa Corn to learn how Iowa Corn grows Iowa. 2021-22 Cy-Hawk Series, again, is led by Iowa State coming into this game. They lead at 12-11, so the winner of this game will claim the annual Cy-Hawk Series. This is the 17th annual. Grace Baines will step to the plate. First pitch out into left center field. It's extra bases for her. Got a nice pitch to hit. Grace Baines around first on her way to second with a stand-up double for the Hawks. And for Grace Baines on the season, that is her 6th double. And she puts the Hawks right back in business here in the top of the second inning as Swain throws that pitch right over the plate. And Grace got around on it quickly and drives it out into left center field. That'll bring up Amber Desenna. Amber Desenna comes in with a .203 batting average. Here is the first offering to her. She'll bunt and bunt it foul. Amber starting in her 33rd game of 35 played. Iowa, again, has played 44. She didn't play at all in the Illinois series this past weekend. She's with 15 hits and 74 at-bats, 6 doubles, and 8 runs batted in. And again, for Grace Baines, that is her 6th. That's the 48th double for the Hawks on the season. Down on the count at no balls and 1 strike is Amber Desenna. Looks at a pitch that's down and away, so it's 1 ball and 1 strike. On the sophomore from Concord, California, which is across the bay from San Francisco, next to Walnut Creek and Pleasant Hill, if you're familiar with the geography in the Bay Area. Here's a pitch that's down and in, so it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Amber, again, didn't play in the Illinois series this past weekend at all. She, in the Ohio State series, had a hit in 6 at-bats. It was an RBI single. She also walked 1 time in the series. Ahead on the count of 2 balls and 1 strike. Here she goes down to try to lay a bunt down, and she misses it, so now she's down to the count. Actually, she evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two and two on the sophomore, playing second base today. Has played primarily third all season long. Here's one that she rips down right at the third base line. Doing a nice job to knock it down is Kaylee Pond. She was in foul territory. That was a good line drive hit by Amber Desenna. She will be on first base, and that'll keep Grace Baines at second. It was a line drive shot that Pond just couldn't glove, and it rolled out of play just a little bit, but it was still a fair ball. And so Amber Desenna with the second hit of the inning for the Hawks. They're on first and second, and it's Tristan Doster at the plate. Doster comes in with a .276 average, 24 hits, 87 at-bats, 5 doubles, a triple, and 5 home runs. One of her home runs is a grand slam home run that she hit well back in the early part of the season. Her first home run of her career happened to be a grand slam home run. Down on the count at no balls and a strike. Looks to bunt, pulls it back, and pitch across the plate, so it's no balls and 2 strikes. On the freshman catcher out of Fort Dodge. Has had a nice freshman year. She has started at first base a few times, and she's been primarily catching since mid-March. Here is the 0-2 that she swings at an off-speed pitch and misses, and is down on strikes. 1 out, and Iowa's top of the second inning. That's its drop ball. Nice pitch by Swain. To have a lot of movement on that pitch to keep Tristan Doster from having a chance to hit the ball. Now we're at the number 9 hitter, Riley Sheehy, who just made an outstanding play in the outfield. Looks at a first pitch that's up and away as she threw out the Iowa State runner at home. Alicia Ranchez trying to score from second base. It's the top of the second inning, 1 out. Hawks have runners at first and second. Grace Baines at second, Amber Desenna at first, both after getting on in hits. Here is the 1-0. That's now 2 balls and no strikes. Be a good hit and pitch here for Riley Sheehy, who played 2 of the 3 games in the Illinois series last weekend. The first 2, as a matter of fact, she played in games 2 and 3 in the doubleheader. Didn't have a hit in 6 at-bats. And is ahead of the count at 2 balls and no strikes. Here's the pitch from Sane, and one that Sheehy will chase down and foul it back behind the backstop. She out of Newtown, Pennsylvania, which is just west of Trenton, New Jersey, and about an hour north of Philadelphia. Had an interesting path to get to the University of Iowa. She started at University of South Carolina upstate for her first year, and then she transferred to the U. Here is the 2-1 that's just up and away, so it's 3 balls and 1 strike. And in looking at the Division I softball top 25, South Carolina Upstate is receiving votes. So she went to a good program to begin with, and for whatever reason, transferred out of there to the University of Iowa. Ahead on the count of 3 balls and 1 strike. Here's an off-speed pitch that she takes a good cut at but misses, and it's a full count on the senior Riley Sheehy. She has a mere 3 multi-hit games on the season. She had a 3-game hitting streak, had a single, at least 1 hit in each of the Ohio State games back on April 15, 16, and 17 in Iowa City. Count now full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Runners at first and second. 1 out. Here's the pitch, down and away. So Riley Sheehy will draw a 1-out walk. It'll load up the bases for Briley Klosterman. For Sheehy, that is the 11th time that she has been walked on the season. Briley Klosterman now getting her second at-bat here. She grounded out to second base in her first at-bat. And with the bases loaded and 1 out, Saya Swain, it looks as if she's going to be replaced here as Jamie Pinkerton will bring in, I believe it's his ace, Ellie Spellhog. It is Ellie Spellhog going to come in here in the top of the second inning to relieve Saya Swain. Bases are loaded. Here are Spellhog's numbers. Ellie comes in. This will be her 34th appearance. She has started 14 games this season, has pitched 114 in the third innings, given up 125 hits, 108 runs, 72 of them earned. She's walked 67 batters and struck out 78. She has a 4.41 ERA and has a 7-15 record. I know she pitched in the, well, she's got actually quite a history. 4 games this season with 6 strikeouts. One of those games was against 6th-ranked UCLA in a game that Iowa State lost 3-0. And the other was against number 5 Washington in the same weekend. They lost to Washington by the score of 1-0. So Ellie Spellhog, she was the number 1 pitcher a year ago as well, with 135 and 2/3 innings pitched. And then in her freshman campaign, she threw 60 innings, that of course back during the pandemic-stricken season. Facing Briley Klosterman with the bases loaded and 1 out. Riley Sheehy at first, just drawing a walk. Amber Desenna singled, and Grace Baines doubled. Baines now on third, Desenna at second. No balls and 1 strike on Briley Klosterman. She looks at the second pitch, and it is strike 2. So Ellie Spellhog immediately comes in and gets ahead of Briley Klosterman in the count here. No balls and 2 strikes. 1 out, bases loaded. Iowa State leads this game 3-1. We are just in the top of the second inning. Here is the 0-2. It's off the plate, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Riley was hitless in the Illinois series. She had 13 at-bats. She did have 1 RBI, though, and scored a run. She and Nia Carter struggled a little bit in that Illinois series. Nia came on a little bit stronger at the end. Here's the 1-2 to Briley. Pitch off the plate again. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 9 multi-hit games on the season for Briley. One of them a 3-hit game, which occurred in the Ohio State series. When she was 6 for 9 in the series. Here's the 2-2 that she'll get around on and foul it down the left field line. Also in that Ohio State series, she walked 3 times. So she on base 9 times in 9 at-bats in that Ohio State series, and then turned around last weekend in Illinois to have no hits and no walks. I think she got on an error and would score. Here's one that she hits out into left field, and it's going to be caught, and a run is going to score. Diving across the plate is Grace Baines on the sac fly from Briley Klosterman. And that's the second out of the inning, but Iowa now has closed the gap to 3-2. Briley takes it to the opposite field. And she gives the Hawks a chance to get another run. Sheehy remains at first base and Amber Desenna at second. 2 outs in Iowa's top of the second, a 3-2 game. Iowa State with the lead, and it's Nia Carter. Now, Nia Carter Certainly a very dangerous hitter that Iowa State will have to really pay attention to here. Again, she'll be working against Ellie Spellhog, and a little delay in the action. Nia Carter with a triple, a 2 RBI triple in the second game of the Illinois series last weekend, the one that the Hawks won 7-3. Here's one that she'll bound at the plate and hit her while she's in the batter's box, so it's foul. Batting .419, she struck out in her first at-bat, leads the team with 57 hits and 137 at-bats. 3 doubles and 3 triples with 18 runs batted in. Has a chance here to give the Hawks at least another run if she can get it into the outfield. Here is the 0-1 from Spellhog, a pitch that's called strike 2 in that outside corner. Ellie Spellhog and her sister Carly, teammates here from the state of Iowa, both from Bettendorf, prepping at Pleasant Valley High School. Here the 0-2 to Nia Carter, that's down and away, so it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nia was 17 multi-hit games on the season. As I'd mentioned, she has a 5-hit game that tied a single-game record with 3 other former Hawkeyes. Here's a pitch on the outside. She lightly swings at and misses. And so Ellie Spellhog comes in and does the trick for the Iowa State Cyclones to shut down Iowa. Although the Hawks do get a run, it is Iowa State leading this Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series game in 2021-22 season. And the winner will claim the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series. It's 3-2 Iowa State. The Cyclones coming to bat.
There's a sense of pride that comes from the life of a farmer. How many people can say they have a famous tan named after them, or be known for their wave when they drive past neighbors and strangers alike on a 2-lane road? Whether it's a farmer's tan or the farmer's wave, we are proud to be known for a lot of things. We feel that pride every night at the dinner table, knowing we feed our family and yours. Iowa Corn is proud to be on the sidelines cheering on the Iowa Hawkeyes. In Iowa, we grow corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa.
University of Iowa Sports Medicine delivers comprehensive care for competitive and recreational athletes of all ages. Our team of orthopedic surgeons, physicians, and specialists are committed to reducing pain and injury through our advanced training and experience. Same-day, next-day appointments available, no referral needed. Learn more by visiting uihc.org/sportsmedicine. Iowa baseball in action here this afternoon. Well, tonight that is. They'll get started against Western Illinois. That's at 6 o'clock. Iowa has won 7 of their last 8, 10 of their last 13, and 15 of their last 20 as we stretch out the season. But really coming on strong here in the last 7 of 8 games. They took 2 of 3 last weekend at 8th-ranked Rutgers. And they will be hosting Western Illinois this evening. Western Illinois comes in with a 4-32 overall record. Iowa at 23-13. That's Iowa baseball at 6 o'clock here tonight from Duane Banks Field. Well, the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series goes on. The last competition between these two was in gymnastics, in which Iowa won. Here's the first pitch to Skylar Ramos. Iowa won the gymnastics. Prior to that, it was tennis that Iowa State won 4-0, and swimming and diving went to Iowa State 191-79. That's women's swimming. Talk more about that. They have a 12-point to 11-point lead over the Hawks in this Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series. Here's one that is lifted up into the air to the infield, and at shortstop is Sophia Morris making the catch, the first out of this bottom of the second inning. And we'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Natalie Wellett. Wellett hitting .275, the designated player and senior. And it's the first pitch from Brianna Vasquez. And a swing and a miss by Natalie Wellett. Wellett, senior from Waukee, just south of Ames and outside of the capital city of Des Moines. Wellett batting .275. Here's the 0-1 to an off-speed pitch. Nice pitch by Brianna Vasquez. 11 hits and 40 at-bats. She with a double and a home run as her extra base hits and only 3 runs batted in. This is just her 14th start in 23 games out of the 45 that the Cyclones have played. So she, a part-time player, fouls it, looks at one and takes a cut and fouls it back into the backstop. So she's still down on the count at no balls and 2 strikes. Nice afternoon here in Ames. Tuesday afternoon. Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk series will conclude after today. Here's the 0-2, a pitch that's upstairs, but she takes a good cut at and misses. And it is the first strikeout of the game for Brianna Vasquez. It'll bring up the top of the order, Carly Spellhog, who got things started for Iowa State back in their first at-bat with a walk, and she would eventually score on the Malaysia Ochoa RBI single, and then Alicia Ranchez would follow that with a 2 RBI double. Here is the first pitch to Spellhog, one that she lifts up into the air. Will it get out of play down the left field line? Right there at the third base line at the fence, along the fence line, and it's Grace Baines reaching up and making the catch on Carly Spellhog. That is a big out, folks, and that's a nice play by Grace Baines right there at the fence line and keeping it from going out of play, and that ends the Iowa State Cyclones. So we are through 2 innings of play. We have a 3-2 game in the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk series between the Hawks and the Iowa State Cyclones. When Iowa comes to the plate, it'll be the third hitter, Denali Lecker, when play resumes. This is Iowa Hawkeye Softball from the Hawkeye Sports Radio Network YouTube channel.
Have you heard about this new type of television experience from Epson? It's called the Epic Vision Ultra Laser Projection TV. It combines a new type of laser projection technology along with a unique Epson Silverflex screen to produce an epic 120-inch 4K Pro UHD picture that's up to 4 times bigger than a traditional 60-inch TV. There's no better way to watch live sports, and watching Iowa basketball play live on this big, bright TV is simply awesome. If you're a sports fanatic like me, you need to check this new Epson TV out for yourself. Visit Epson.com/TV to learn more.
University of Iowa men's and women's golf. The women's team finished 14th at the Big Ten Championships last weekend. And the men's Big Ten Championships are this coming Friday, Saturday, Sunday at French Lick, Indiana, hosted by the Indiana Hoosiers. That'll be some exciting activity going on. Here we are in Ames at the Cyclone Sports Facility, a 4-year-old softball diamond, a beautiful diamond designed and built for Iowa State softball. Saw Bill Fennelly in the crowd today, out here to support this Iowa State Cyclone softball team. As a matter of fact, the entire women's basketball team was out, and Ashley Jones was able to throw out the first pitch before things got underway here today. It'll be Denali Lecker at the plate when play resumes. She singled and scored in her first at-bat on the RBI double from Kalena Burns. That gave the Hawks the 1-0 lead. Working against Ella Spellhog, who came in to spell Saya Swain in the Hawkeyes' top of the second inning. First pitch to Denali Lecker is on the plate, so it's strike 1. Here is the 0-1 from Spellhog, a pitch that she gets out around on, hits it right over to the shortstop, and it's Alicia Ranchez picking it up and to first base for the first out of the Hawks' top of the third inning. And it brings up Kalena Burns. Burns doubled in her last at-bat, an RBI double, scoring Denali Lecker. Burns has had a pretty decent season. Here is the first pitch to her that's down and in. I say that coming out of the Illinois game weekend, she had where she had just 1 hit in 10 at-bats. But prior to that, from the last game of the Maryland series all the way to the first game of the doubleheader against Nebraska, she had at least 1 hit. Here is the 1-0 to her. That's now 1 ball and 1 strike. So she had a 6-game hitting streak going. Maryland, Drake, all 3 against Minnesota in the first game of the doubleheader against Nebraska. And if you want to go back a couple of games prior to that, it was the first game in the Maryland series where she had another hit. So she hit safely in 7 of 8 games back about 2 weeks ago. But she's been swinging a pretty healthy bat. Had a couple of home runs against Minnesota in game number 1 on the 8th of April. The Hawks were down in that game and came back to win it 9-8. And Kalena Burns had 2 home runs in it, a 2-run home run and a 3-run home run, her first multi-home run hit game of her career. Here she is, a junior now for the Hawks. Down on the count at a ball and 2 strikes. She'll lift one foul back into the backstop. Last year, she with 5 multi-hit games, but 4 of them were 3-hit games. Against Rutgers, against Minnesota, against Purdue. Of course, that was all the Big Ten series last year, and against Wisconsin. So she kind of was feasting on Big Ten pitching. Here is the 1-2 that's down and in, so it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. She's also drawn a number of walks on the season as Kalena with 13 base on balls. And the count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes in this at-bat. Here's the pitch from Ellie Spellhog, and it's down and in, so it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. On the junior from Corona, California, another from the Bay Area that the Hawks able to claim and lure them to the state of Iowa in the Midwest. Here's the 3-2, a pitch that she rips down the third base line. Anything close, she was going after. She's really been swinging a nice bat, has Kalena Burns. Had an excellent freshman season, although that was the pandemic year. She was batting .403 when play was halted in mid-March, just prior to the Big Ten season beginning. 29 hits and 72 at-bats, 6 doubles and 5 home runs in that her freshman year. Here's the 3-2 from Spellhog, a swing and a miss on a pitch that was down and in. And for Ellie Spellhog, that is the second strikeout, and it's the second out of the top of the third inning. So to bring up Sophia Morris for the Hawks. Morris flew out to center field in her first at-bat back in the first inning. Has been swinging a pretty good bat here as a recent. Here is the first pitch to her that's called strike 1. In the Illinois series, she did have 2 hits in 9 at-bats. She also walked once, and one of her hits was a double. And she scored 3 runs. 8 multi-hit games on the season. One of them a 3-hit game back in the Indiana State game back on the 4th of March in one of their trips to the South. And 7 2-hit games. So really having a nice junior season coming out of a junior college out of Des Moines Area Community College, the reigning National Junior College Player of the Year. Ahead in the count at 2 balls and 1 strike. Looking out at Ellie Spellhog is Sophia Morris. Here's the pitch from Spellhog. And it's a pitch that's just off the plate. Umpire very consistent. He's not given any distance on that outside pitch. He's been very consistent for both pitchers, making them have that ball cross the plate as it gets to it. Here's the 3-1 from Spellhog, a pitch that's down and away, and so Sophia Morris will draw a 2-out walk. Now, remember, the Hawks scored their first run back in the first inning on 2 outs. And we'll see if they can't get something continuing to go here. Grace Baines will step to the plate. Grace doubled in her first at-bat as she led off the top of the second inning and would eventually score on the sacrifice fly. Here's the first pitch to her that's called strike 1. Grace Baines coming in with a .220 average, now 25 hits and 110 at-bats. She now has 6 doubles and a couple of triples, has 18 runs batted in. Sophomore from Kansas City, Kansas. Down on the count at no balls and a strike. Here is the 0-1. It's called strike 2. Well, he's given a little bit of distance on that inside corner. That one looks like it was a little low and inside, but the umpire saw it differently. Of course, that's right in his line of view, so with the right-handed batter. Here is the pitch from Spellhog. The 0-2, again, called strike 3. Same spot. Again, it looks to me like it's down and in, but the umpire sees it differently. And so the Hawks get a runner on with a walk, but they can't get her across or move her around to get her across. And Ellie Spellhog then will record her third out of her appearance in the circle today. That started back in the top of the second inning. Well, we're through 2.5, and it's Iowa State leading the Iowa Hawkeyes by the score of 3-2. As play resumes here in the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series, this is Iowa Hawkeyes softball on the Hawkeye Sports Radio Network YouTube channel.
Have you heard about this new type of television experience from Epson? It's called the Epic Vision Ultra Laser Projection TV. It combines a new type of laser projection technology along with a unique Epson Silverflex screen to produce an epic 120-inch 4K Pro UHD picture that's up to 4 times bigger than a traditional 60-inch TV. There's no better way to watch live sports, and watching Iowa basketball play live on this big, bright TV is simply awesome. If you're a sports fanatic like me, you need to check this new Epson TV out for yourself. Visit Epson.com/TV to learn more.
Well, a lot of things happened around the Big Ten today. Other than this Iowa State game, Rutgers is hosting Drexel. Purdue is at Indiana to play a doubleheader today. That is a makeup game. Minnesota hosting St. Thomas. St. Thomas newly entered into the Division I category. Ohio State hosting Penn State in a doubleheader. And it's Northwestern hosting the University of Illinois Chicago. Northwestern now has finally reached the top of the Big Ten standings again. They started there at the beginning, and then they had a couple of losses. Nebraska would take over, and Nebraska lost twice to Wisconsin last weekend. So Northwestern with a 15-2 Big Ten record, Nebraska with a 14-2 Big Ten record, Illinois at 12-4, Maryland at 12-5, and Wisconsin at 10-5. Wait, you haven't heard from Michigan yet? Well, Michigan is kind of in 7th place right now with a 9-7 record. Okay, so those are games we're talking about tonight. Tomorrow, Illinois will be at DePaul, and Purdue, after playing a doubleheader today, will be off to South Bend, Indiana to square off against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish softball team. And then this Friday has some interesting matchups again as we wind down the Big Ten season. Again, this will be the second to last season of the Big Ten regular season. It'll be, as we take a look at the teams at the top, Nebraska will be at Ohio State. Maryland is at Michigan State. Maryland in there in the number 4 spot. Illinois at Indiana. Illinois in the number 3 spot. Wisconsin at Penn State. Penn State number 6. Wisconsin number 5. Minnesota will head to Michigan. Michigan in the 7th spot. And Minnesota is in the tie for 9th. Here's the first pitch that's hit out to right field by Michaela Ramos. And she rounds first and heads to second. Nia Carter bobbled it a little bit. It caused Ramos to be able to get to it. Ramos didn't even hesitate around first base. She hit it out to Carter. Carter going to her right to get it. And she rifles a throw back into second base. And it looked as if almost that Sophia Morris was able to make the tag. She picked it up on the bounce. And the umpire calls her safe. Going to give Michaela Ramos a double on that play. And she will be at second base. Again, you can see the expression on Sophia Morris's face that she thought that she had applied the tag right at the base where Ramos was sliding. They're taking a good look at it, but it's not going to change the call any. It was very close. The umpire right there on top of things. So with nobody out, bottom of the third inning, it'll be Angelina Allen at the plate for the Cyclones. Michaela Ramos, the number 2 hitter in the lineup, at second base. Angelina Allen, the number 3 hitter, batting .311 coming into the game. Senior first baseman. Angelina Allen, in her first at-bat, grounded out to, well, hit into a forced play. She was hit by a pitch and then was forced at second base. Allen got on base on a fielder's choice and would eventually score. I was looking at Michaela Ramos. Ramos has been on base twice now, this time on a double. Well, they're looking at a review in the play, I guess, to find out whether or not she actually was tagged out. I've been watching the review. It's hard really to say. They were as close as you can get with Ramos getting to the bag, but the tag was there too at the same time, and the tag was up a little bit more in the calf area and not at the foot. So I don't know that they're going to have enough overriding evidence to make it an out call, but they're taking a good, strong look at it. It's kind of had a delay in play from Ames here this afternoon. Nice sunshine out there, 53 degrees. A little breeze out of the northwest, but nothing strong like they've been seeing, especially early in the regular season when Hawks were playing at home. The Wisconsin series, the Ohio State series, it was quite windy and very chilly, but not today in Ames. This weekend in Chicago, there is the chance for rain off and on. They are going to call her out. So they've looked at the review, and the relay from Nia Carter into Sophia Morris was good enough. So it'll be actually a single for Michaela Ramos. And that's one out, so it brings up Angelina Allen. Allen, in her first at-bat, reached on a fielder's choice and would eventually score the second of the 3 runs that Iowa State scored back in their bottom of the first inning. They lead it 3-2. We're in the bottom of the third. Brianna Vasquez in the circle for the Hawks. Tristan Doster behind the plate. Here is the 1-0 to Allen, a pitch that she gets around on down the right field line, and it is gone. A line drive into right field, and she nails it over the right field fence. Nothing Nia Carter could do about it, but watch it sail over the fence. And Angelina Allen now with her 3rd home run of the season, and it gives the Iowa State Cyclones a 4-2 lead. She got around on the pitch that was up and in on her, the left-handed hitter, and she drilled it out to right field, and she knew it from the moment it left the bat. Fans had to scatter. They were sitting behind the fence. And for Vasquez, that is the 11th home run that she's allowed this season. And it gives the Iowa State Cyclones a 4-2 lead here in the Iowa Corn Cyhawks series. Bottom of the 3rd inning. Cyclones at the plate, and it brings up Malaysia Ochoa. And Ochoa on the All-Big Ten freshman team a year ago, and now head coach Renee Gillespie going to go with Denali Lecker back into the circle. Denali pitched twice against Illinois last weekend. She started the game on Friday, went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 4 hits, a couple of runs, both were earned, walked 2 and struck out 1 in that game. And she did take the loss to go to 9-7. And then she also pitched in the first game of the doubleheader on Saturday, throwing 2 innings, 6 hits, scattering 6 hits. She gave up a run. It was earned. She did strike out 1 and picked up the win. The win that the Hawks had to score 5 in the top of the 9th inning and won that game. And she went to 10-7. So for Denali Lecker, making her 34th appearance on the season, she's thrown 114 2/3 innings on the season, given up 126 hits, 94 runs, 70 of them earned. She's walked 34, struck out 61. She has an ERA of 4.27. And those are ERAs that are very high. Obviously, it's down somewhere from 1.5 and less is where you want your pitchers to be, and they're working at that. Here's the first pitch from Denali Lecker to Malaysia Ochoa. And she throws it into the dirt. It bounces across the plate for Tristan Doster. Iowa State leading now 4-2. They just got their 4th run on a solo home run from Angelina Allen. 1 ball and no strikes on Malaysia Ochoa. Here's the pitch from Denali Lecker, a pitch that is called strike 1 on the outside corner. Allen, with 42 hits on the season, doesn't lead for Iowa State. Actually, he's the number 3 hitter on the season, but as a freshman, that's second most among Big 12 freshmen, is Malaysia Ochoa. Here's an off-speed pitch that is down and away, and Ochoa takes a swing at it and will miss. She's batting fourth in the lineup. Ochoa is singled, RBI single and scored back in the first inning. Here's a swing and a miss, and she's down on strikes. And it's out number 2. And the first strikeout for Denali Lecker for the Hawks. And it brings up Alicia Ranchez, the junior shortstop, batting .270. Ranchez had a 2 RBI double in her first at-bat and was cut down at the plate trying to score to end the bottom of the first inning. Nice throw by Riley Sheehy into Tristan Doster to get her at the plate and end Iowa State. But they lead it here 4-2 with a solo home run here in the bottom of the third inning from Angelina Allen. And it's Alicia Ranchez at the plate. Here is the first offerings, called strike 1 from Denali Lecker, who has relieved Brianna Vasquez. Denali Lecker, through just a few innings a year ago as a freshman, was more of a utility player in the field. Here's the 0-2 that's down and in. Got a lot of time in the field a year ago. Starting at first base, she designated hit quite a bit. Had quite a year at the plate last year, .322 average. Here she's up in the count of 1 ball and 2 strikes, and it's hit out to right field, and Nia Carter back in deep right field making the catch, and that will end Iowa State here in this bottom of the third inning. But they pick up another run, a solo home run from Angelina Allen, and they take a 4-2 lead over the Iowa Hawkeyes as we will move into the top of the fourth inning. And when play resumes, it'll be this number 7 hitter, Amber Desenna, for the Iowa Hawkeyes. This is the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series, Iowa and Iowa State from Ames. The final matchup in the competition this season. The winner of today's game will claim the season Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series trophy. This is Iowa Hawkeye Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Radio Network YouTube channel.
Anything can happen when the Cyclones and Hawkeyes come to compete. It's where the rubber meets the road. Neighbors become rivals and friends become foes. Some go home broken-hearted, while others are victorious. When the dust finally settles, one thing stands true. No matter which side you're on, you're part of tradition. For those who are Iowan through and through, we're Iowa Corn, a proud sponsor of the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series. In Iowa, we grow corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa.
Throughout the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series, Iowa Corn promotes honest, hardworking values that are uniquely Iowan. On behalf of Iowa's corn farmers, we salute all fans and athletes for their hard work and determination to be the best both on and off the field. Just like our top athletes, our state leads the nation in corn and ethanol production. Follow Iowa Corn to learn how corn grows Iowa. Well, the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series, we've been talking about it, obviously. Again, Iowa State has actually won the 4 of the last 5 competitions of the season. Tennis, swimming and diving, men's basketball, women's basketball they won. Other than the gymnastics competition back on the 4th of March, Iowa's most recent win was the wrestling meet on the 5th of December in Ames. Iowa won that 23-11. Iowa State won prior to that in women's and men's cross country, but Iowa would take the first 3 competitions of the season back in August in the soccer, football in September 11, and the volleyball match in Iowa City. Iowa won that by the score of 3-0. So again, Iowa State though leads the series 12 points to 11. So today's winner will be taking home the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series trophy for the 2021-22 academic year. Amber Desenna at the plate for the Iowa Hawkeyes, the sophomore from Concord, California. Ahead of the count of 2 balls and a strike on Ellie Spellhog. Here's one that she'll bounce to second base, and it's picked up by Casey Simpson on to first, and that's the first out of the Hawks here in the top of the 4th inning. It'll bring up the freshman, Tristan Doster, catching for the Hawks here again today. She's done primarily in her last starts, she was behind the plate in 2 of the 3 games against the Fighting Illini this past weekend. Had a couple of hits in 8 at-bats. Here's the first pitch to her. That's called strike 1. Ellie Spellhog in the circle. She a transfer from Bradley, where she actually went there to play basketball, and she wanted to re-team with her sister Carly at Iowa State to play softball, and so here she is. That was a year ago that she came back, and she's now even in the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. On Tristan. Here's the 1-1 from Ellie Spellhog. And it's a pitch that Doster will get around on and foul it back into the backstop. Tristan Doster has a couple of 3-hit games on the season. Well, 1 for sure. When in the Maryland series, she had 5 hits in 10 at-bats, including a double and a home run. And here she fouls one back. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Don't expect a whole lot out of a freshman, but they certainly come in and play if they're ready. And head coach Renee Gillespie has been very satisfied with what Tristan Doster has done. She's been sharing time behind the plate with Marissa Peak, but it's been Tristan in probably 2 of every 3 games. Here's the 1-2 that's down and in. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, she started off her season with a 5-game hitting streak. 2 of those games were multi-hit games, Eastern Kentucky and Kentucky. And in the Liberty game in the same weekend, she hit her first home run, and it was a grand slam. Here, once she just dribbles it right back to Ellie Spellhog in the circle, and she on to first base, and that's 2 gone in Iowa's top of the 4th inning. It brings up Riley Sheehy. Sheehy, the senior from Newtown, Pennsylvania. She walked in her first at-bat and was stranded at first base. Sheehy coming in with a .225 batting average, 16 of 72 at-bats. Here's the first pitch as she'll hit over to third base, who was playing down the line, Kaylee Pond. She just had to skip to her left a little bit and pick up the ground ball and on to first base. And so the Hawks quickly down in their top of the 4th inning. We are through 3.5, and it's Iowa State leading Iowa by the score of 4-2. The Cyclones will come to the plate, and the number 6 hitter, Kaylee Pond, will be there when play resumes. This is Iowa Hawkeye Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Radio Network YouTube channel.
Looking for a place to go before and after Hawkeye home games? Make a night of it at Graduate Iowa City Hotel. Take advantage of our in-house Topgolf Swing Suite for a full bar and a menu of American classics, and most importantly, a selection of exciting virtual games from favorites like golf, football, and baseball to more unique options like zombie dodgeball. Call 319-337-4058 for details and reservations at Graduate Iowa City Hotel.
Home of the Hawkeyes, Finkmine Golf Course and Bumps Restaurant is open for the 2022 golf season, featuring 18 holes of splendid golf at Finkmine's public golf course, as well as handcrafted American fare. Stop by today to enjoy quality golf at Finkmine and terrific food at Bumps Restaurant. Thanking them for being a part of our broadcast here on Iowa Softball. Of course, the Iowa Hawkeye men's golf team hosted the annual Hawkeye Invitational last weekend, in which Kansas won it, and the Hawks came in second. The Iowa men's golf team is on its way to the Big Ten tournament championships this weekend at French Lick, Indiana. That'll be Friday through Sunday. The University of Iowa women's golf team finished their season last weekend in 14th place in the Big Ten golf tournament. So Kaylee Pond will get it started for the Cyclones. Here in the bottom of the 4th inning, the Cyclones leading 4-2. The first pitch from Denali Lecker is called strike 1. When the Hawks come back to the plate, it'll be the top of the order, and Brady Klosterman will be there for the Hawks. Kaylee Pond grounded out to third in her first at-bat, batting .266, the sophomore third baseman. Finished the Hawkeyes top of the 4th inning. Here's one that she bounces right back to Denali Lecker in the circle. Denali, a couple of strides over towards first base and underhands it to Kalena Burns for the first out of this bottom of the fourth inning. Casey Simpson now will be at the plate. She singled in her last at-bat back in the first inning, the inning in which Iowa State would get their greatest amount of runs and have a lead, which they've held since, with 3 of them in that bottom of the first inning. Casey Simpson at 240. And the senior second baseman, here is the first pitch to her from Denali Lecker. It's down and in. Has started and played all 46 games. 29 hits, now 30 hits and 122 at-bats, 6 doubles, 2 triples, and she has blasted 4 home runs. Ahead on the count, 1 ball and no strikes on Denali Lecker. Is one that she lifts up into the air, and it'll drift foul and hit on top of the Iowa State Cyclones dugout and bounce up into the crowd. A capacity crowd here today in the stadium. It's the same size as Bob Pearl, and it's full of fans, both Iowa and Iowa State. And then there are a number of fans sitting around the fence in the outfield, as they have an area out there, a grassy area that people can come and enjoy watching the Iowa State Cyclone softball team. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the pitch from Denali Lecker, one that Simpson will hit up into the air. Nia Carter on the run from right field, making the catch. That's out number 2 for Iowa State here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Skylar Ramos now at the plate. She popped up to Sophia Morris at shortstop in her first at-bat. Skylar Ramos batting .205. 15 hits now in 74 at-bats. Senior center fielder. Returning player from a year ago. Here is the first pitch from Denali Lecker. And a pitch that Ramos will hit up into the outfield and push Riley Sheehy back in left field, but she has plenty of room and makes the catch, and that will end the Iowa State Cyclones here in the bottom of the fourth inning. 3 up, 3 down. It's still 4-2. It's still Iowa State leading the Iowa Hawkeyes in the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series. Winner takes all with after today's games. So we'll see what happens. The Hawks coming to the plate in the top of the fifth inning. It'll be the top of the order. Bradley Klosterman when play resumes. This is Iowa Hawkeye Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Radio Network YouTube channel.
In Iowa, we grow corn, a lot of corn. We love seeing our farmers in the fields, and although they're perfect strangers, we know them. We know them by their equipment covered in dust. We know them by their work ethic, where days off don't exist. We know them by the way they wave, passing strangers alike on a 2-lane road. We know them in the midst of our kitchen as we prepare another family meal. In Iowa, we grow corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. The Iowa corn farmers are proud to be on the sidelines for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
After today, the Hawks will be in Evanston, Illinois this weekend for a 3-game series with the Northwestern Wildcats. Friday's game is a 4 o'clock game, not a 5 o'clock game, so we'll be on the air on the YouTube channel a little bit before the hour of 4 o'clock. Saturday is a KXIC radio game as well as right here on the YouTube channel. I'll be on the air at about 12:50 with that one, and then Sunday is a noon start from Evanston, Illinois, as the Hawks will conclude the series with the Northwestern Wildcats. And then next Wednesday, Iowa will finish the in-state games as they face Northern Iowa in Cedar Falls. That is a 5 o'clock start next Wednesday in Cedar Falls. Hopefully the weather will be good for that one as we check ahead on the weather for next Wednesday. Around about a 30% chance of rain, they're saying, and a temperature of 57 degrees. So, nevertheless, and then the Hawks will finish the regular season with the Purdue Boilermakers next weekend, 5th, 6th, and 7th. And we'll have those games for you as well, and hopefully they're wins for the Hawks that they can get themselves into the Big Ten Conference Tournament. Here's Bradley Klosterman finally getting a hold of one and hitting it out to left field and starting off the top of the fifth inning with a base hit. And for Bradley, that breaks a 3-game hitless streak. She was hitless in the Ohio State series last weekend. Nice to see her get a base hit here today against Iowa State. I know she's feeling a little bit easier about that as well. So to bring up Nia Carter, Nia with a couple of hits in the Illinois series last weekend, 2 hits in 10 at-bats. So she batted 200 there. She was batting .419 coming into the game today. Here's the first pitch to her is ball 1 down and away. Ellie Spellhog is in the circle for the Iowa State Cyclones. She came in the top of the second inning after the Hawks had scored a run, had the bases loaded. Spellhog then would get it out on a sacrifice fly, and then she would have a strikeout. Here's a pitch that's almost in the same spot as Nia Carter was looking to slap it at it, and she pulled the bat back, and the umpire calls it a strike. Looked a little bit low to me, but it's a 1-1 count. Here's the pitch, down and away. 2 balls and 1 strike on the junior outfielder out of Rancho Cucamonga, California. Had a nice year last year at hitting .296, played all 44 games, 42 hits and 142 at-bats. Here's the 2-1 that's down and away again at 3 balls and 1 strike. This season is much like the season she had as a freshman year, as a matter of fact, and that was the pandemic-stricken year. Coming out of the non-conference season, she had started 19 of the 21 games played, batted .509, led the Big Ten in batting there. Here is the 3-1 that's hits on the outside corner, so 3 balls and 2 strikes. Had 28 hits and 55 at-bats in that 2020 season. Again, they just played 21 games. Had a couple of doubles and a couple of triples. Carried that over into last year, and she's really having a nice season thus far here with 55 hits, 126 at-bats. Here's one that she dribbles right over to shortstop, on the move, on the run, and a nice play by Alicia Ranchez to get Nia Carter at first base. She just dribbled it right too short, and Ranchez only had a chance to throw it as she picked it up on the run as she was coming in. It does move Bradley Klosterman on to second base with 1 out, and it brings up Denali Lecker. Lecker in her 3rd at-bat, singled in her first at-bat and would score back in the first inning. And she would ground out to Ranchez at shortstop in her last at-bat. Iowa State leads this game 4-2. It's the top of the 5th inning. And the Hawks are in the top of their order right here. The number 3 hitter, Denali Lecker. Ahead on the count of the ball and strike on Ellie Spellhog. Here's the pitch that's down and in. So 2 balls and no strikes on Denali. Had 4 RBIs in the 3rd game of the Ohio State series, in which she hit 2 home runs and a double for her 4 RBIs. Her home run was a solo shot. Here she fouls one back. So out of the Ohio State series and into the Illinois series, she had a 5-game hitting streak going. That was ended in the doubleheader, the second game of the doubleheader last weekend against Illinois. Here is the 2-1s down and in. 3 balls and 1 strike. So she on a short hitless streak. She ended that today with a single in her first at-bat. So she's been on a hot streak her last 7 games. She's hit now safely 6 out of her last 7. Here's one that she pops up out into center field. Tagging is Bradley Klosterman at second base, and she does not advance. She will hold up. And that's the second out of the Hawkeyes here in the top of the 5th inning. Denali likes those pitches out over the plate. She has hit a few of her home runs right in dead center field, so she's got some good velocity on that swing, and she hit that one right out to dead center field and pushing the center fielder back. So it brings up Kalena Burns. Burns is 1 for 2 today. She had an RBI double in her first at-bat. She has a teammate in Bradley Klosterman at second base. The Hawks need to score here. 4-2. Here's the first pitch that she'll foul back into the backstop. Kalena coming into the game batting .248, now 27 of 107. She struck out in her last at-bat. And for her, that's the 13th strikeout of the season. She's down on the count at no balls and 1 strike against Ellie Spellhog, the junior out of Bettendorfer, prepped at Pleasant Valley. Here's one that Kalena Burns will get around on again, fouled back into the backstop. So she down on the count at no balls and 2 strikes will have to do some very, very good protection here at the plate. Kalena had a 6-game hitting streak going back from the last game, the third game of the Maryland series, through Drake and the 3 games against Minnesota at home, and then the first game of the doubleheader at Nebraska, where she had at least 1 hit in every game and a multi-hit game in the first game against Minnesota. There is the 0-2. This now no balls and 2 strikes as she fouls it away. Those 2 hits she had against Minnesota were both home runs in that game 1, in which Iowa came from behind to win 9-8. Kalena hit a 2-run home run and a 3-run home run, had 5 RBIs on that game. Down on the count at no balls and 2 strikes. Brody Klosterman at second. Here's the pitch from Spellhog. Here's one that's popped up into the infield. And coming in to make the play from second base in front of teammate at first base, it's Casey Simpson. And the Hawks get a runner on. Get her to second base, but cannot move her forward and cross the plate. We're through 4.5, head to the bottom of the 5th. It's the number 9 hitter, Natalie Wellett, when play resumes. This is the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series on Iowa Hawkeye Softball and the Hawkeye Sports Radio Network YouTube channel.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the number 1 automotive shop in Iowa City,
where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
University of Iowa women's tennis hosting the Big Ten Championships this week in Iowa City. It begins tomorrow for Iowa, as the Hawks will be hosting Michigan State at 2 o'clock. The earlier tennis match at 10 o'clock will feature Rutgers and Purdue. Now, the winner of the Iowa-Michigan State game will go on to face the winner of Illinois Thursday night at 6 o'clock, and that'll be a first-round game. So what Iowa and Michigan State are doing are kind of playing a play-in game to continue on in the Big Ten tournament. And also rowing. This Friday morning, it'll be the University of Iowa rowing team hosting Minnesota, Oregon State, Central Florida, Southern Cal, and Wisconsin at Lake McBride. Those are all very competitive rowing teams. I'll have that broadcast for you on BTN Plus. Friday morning will begin at about 8:30 for that at Lake McBride, which is just outside of Seoul. It'll be a little brisk Friday morning. You know, I think the temperature is supposed to be in the 40s. So it'll be cool, a little bit of a breeze, but we'll get things taken care of. That's the rowing team on Friday morning. And then again, the Iowa Hawkeye women's, this Hawkeye softball team will be hosting be on the road at Northwestern Friday afternoon to begin the weekend, and that'll be a 4 o'clock start. Natalie Wellett will begin for the Iowa State Cyclones. Well, as a matter of fact, they've got a pinch hitter in there for her. And that is Abby Gunter, pinch hitting for Wellett here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And Gunter, Abby, making her 8th appearance. She is batting .500, but only has 6 at-bats and 3 hits, a double to her credit. She does have 4 runs batted in, so capable of putting the ball in play. She's from Salinas, California. Ahead of the count at 2 balls and no strikes against Denali Lecker. Here's the pitch that she swings at and will miss. Natalie Wellett struck out in her first at-bat, or only at-bat of the game. So Abby Gunter will come in here in the bottom of the 5th inning to pinch hit and working against Denali Lecker. It's a 4-2 game. Iowa State leading the Hawks in the bottom of the 5th inning. And a 2-1 count on Abby Gunter. Here's the 2-1. Now becomes 2 balls and 2 strikes. Iowa State scored 3 in the bottom of the 1st after the Hawks struck first to score 1 in the top of the 1st. Iowa State took a 3-1 lead. Iowa would score 1 in the top of the 2nd to make it 3-2. Iowa State would come back with a solo home run from Angelina Allen and make it 4-2, and that's where we stand right now. Here's Gunter bounding one to third base. Grace Baines picks it up on a nice, easy hop and across the diamond to Kalena Burns for the first out of the Cyclones here in the bottom of the 5th inning. It does bring up the top of the order. Carly Spellhog, right-handed hitting Spellhog, speedster. She walked and scored back in the 1st. She popped up to Grace Baines in her 2nd at-bat, so she 1 for 0 for 1 on the day. Here is the first pitch to her from Denali Lecker. It's down and in, so it's ball 1. Carly Spellhog, 50 runs that she has scored this year, is the 4th most in Cyclone history, and she still has a number of games to go. Here's the 1-0 from Lecker. A pitch off speed that's down and away, so it's ball 1. Again, this is an Iowa State softball team that is 17th in the nation with doubles. They now up to 72, had a double hit earlier in this game. Carly Spellhog up in the count at 2 balls and no strikes. Here's the pitch from Denali Lecker. Off speed, across the plate, strike 1. Good pitch by Denali Lecker. That double came from Alicia Ranchez back in that 3-run first inning. That's the 72nd double on the season for Iowa State. And again, they're number 17 in the country. Here's the 2-1 from Denali Lecker. An off-speed pitch again. That's outside, so it's 3 balls and 1 strike. 1 out in Iowa State's bottom of the 5th inning. Top of the order in Carly Spellhog. Batting .341, leading the team in batting. 0 for 1 for today. And ahead in the count of 3 balls and a strike. Here's the pitch, down and in. So she draws the second walk of her day against the Iowa Hawkeyes. And we'll see what Jamie Pinkerton will elect to do with her. The Hawks know that she's very capable of stealing. She has not been caught stealing in her career, where she's 41 of 41, 13 of 13 on this season. And now being here in the bottom of the 5th inning might be a good time to check out her wheels, and we'll see what Tristan Doster can do from behind the plate. Tristan has caught 3 in 14 attempts. So she certainly has a good arm, capable of getting it down to second base. We'll just see if the timing would be right on the first pitch to Michaela Ramos, one that is down and in, and Spellhog does not attempt to steal. Here's the 1-0 from Denali Lecker, a pitch that Ramos gets around on. She hits it out of the park, but foul. She got a quick bat on that one, but she got a little bit too far in front of it. Knocks it out of the park, but fouled on the left field line. The senior catcher batting second in the lineup. She's 1 for 2 on the day. She singled in her first at-bat and was thrown out at second base trying to stretch the single into a double. And now she's ahead on the count at 2 balls and 1 strike. Michaela Ramos with 48 runs batted in this season in 45 games. Last year, she set a new single-season record in Iowa State history with 57 runs batted in. She was second-team All-Big 10. All-Big 12 a year ago. Here's the 2-1 that's down and in again. Here's a steal attempt by Spellhog. And all Tristan can do is just from the stance is try to zip one down to second base to Sophia Ramos. And it's not in time. So Carly Spellhog, 14 of 14 on the season, 42 of 42 in her career. Reminds me a lot of Arely Bogar. In her 4 years at the University of Iowa, she went her first year and a half without being caught. And finally, I think it was her 42nd attempt where she was finally cut down at second base. Here is one that's hit right over to Sophia Morris, picks up quickly, and on to Kalena Burns for the second out of this bottom of the 5th inning. It does move Spellhog on to third base, and it brings up Angelina Allen. Allen hit a solo home run in her last at-bat. Has scored twice, got on a fielder's choice in her first at-bat and scored the second of 3 runs in the bottom of the 1st inning and hit the solo home run in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Hit that off of Denali Lecker. And here the two are facing one another again with a runner at third base in Carly Spellhog and 2 outs. Here's the first offering from Denali Lecker. Lifts it up down the left field line. It looks like it's going to drift foul, and it does, out of play. So Angelina Allen, 42 hits on the season. Freshman from Moreno Valley, California. Here's the 0-1 from Denali Lecker. A pitch hits that outside corner, no balls and 2 strikes. Coming into the game, 42 hits was the second most in for a Big 12 freshman. She now up to 43 hits with the solo home run, her third home run of the season. Down on the count at no balls and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch that she swings at and misses, and Denali Lecker gets her to swing at a ball that's up and away out of the strike zone, and it's the third out of the Iowa State Cyclones, bottom of the 5th inning. Get a runner on, move her to third, can't get her across the plate, but Iowa State continues to lead this game by the score of 4-2. This is the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series from Ames. This is Iowa Hawkeye Softball on the Hawkeye Sports Radio Network YouTube channel.
There's a sense of pride that comes from the life of a farmer. How many people can say they have a famous tan named after them, or be known for their wave when they drive past neighbors and strangers alike on a 2-lane road? Whether it's a farmer's tan or the farmer's wave, we are proud to be known for a lot of things. We feel that pride every night at the dinner table, knowing we feed our family and yours. Iowa Corn is proud to be on the sidelines cheering on the Iowa Hawkeyes. In Iowa, we grow corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa.
Well, this is the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series. Throughout the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series, Iowa Corn promotes honest, hard-working values that are uniquely Iowan. On behalf of Iowa's corn farmers, we salute all fans and athletes for their hard work and determination to be the best both on and off the field. Just like our top athletes, our state leads the nation in corn and ethanol production. Follow Iowa Corn to learn how corn grows Iowa. Track and field news, the Hawkeyes had the 21st Musco Twilight last weekend, and a couple of records were set in the men's shot put. Nick Curtis with a 65-foot 9-inch toss, a new school record, but he only finished in second place. He also owns the indoor shot put record. He's a transfer from Tiffin University. And on the women's side, in the hammer throw, Amanda Howe won it in 206 feet 5-inch toss, a new school record at the University of Iowa. Many good events in the running events for men and women. We can get to here a little bit later as we go through this broadcast. But University of Iowa track and field, certainly not just up and coming, but they're at the top of the heap as the men have won back-to-back indoor conference track and field meets, and they won the outdoor last year. Sophia Morris steps to the plate, fouls the first one off. So she's down on the count at no balls and 1 strike against Ellie Spellhog. 4-2 the lead for Iowa State. This is the top of the 6th. Here's the 0-1 that now becomes 1 ball and 1 strike. Sophia walked in her last at-bat and flew out to center field in her very first at-bat back in the first inning. Sophia at the 3.08 average coming into the game. 1-1 count. Here's the pitch from Ellie Spellhog. Down and in. Bounces away from the catcher. And it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Sophia had 2 hits in the Illinois series last weekend. 2 out of 9 she was at the plate. She did walk 1 time. And one of the 2 base hits she had in that first game against Illinois was a double. Here is the 2-1 to her. She takes a cut at it and hits it right off the instep of her foot. And she immediately goes down, up walking it off, but she's fine with that. He went right down immediately. Got to be very painful. Hit right on the inside of her foot. And she quickly got up to walk it off, and now she's back in that left-handed batter's box. Earlier this season, she had hit safely in 5 of 6 games, and all 5 of those games were multi-hit games. 4 2-hit games and a 3-hit game against Indiana State. Here's the 2-2 to her that she'll hit out to left field and in the air. And dropping it out there in left field is Carly Spellhog. She had it. She's looking right into that sun, though, and she got it in her glove. And she couldn't squeeze it for that first out. Opposite field hit for Sophia Morris. So it'll be an error on the left fielder out there, and it puts Sophia Morris now at second base as she routed first. She kept right on running. And so she will be at second base. An opening at bat hit for Sophia Morris will be an error, and it brings up Grace Baines. And for Grace now, she struck out in their last at-bat and doubled and scored back in the second inning. Sophia Morris now at second base after reaching on an error by the left fielder, Carly Spellhog. Here is the first pitch from Ellie Spellhog. Ground ball to second, and that will move Sophia Mara onto third base. And the first out of the Hawkeyes' top of the sixth inning. It'll bring up Amber Desenna. Desenna doubled in her, or singled in her first at-bat, stranded at second, and she grounded out to second base in her second at-bat. Has a teammate at third in Sophia Morris. Desenna batting .203. Here is the first pitch to her that's inside, so it's ball one. 1 for 2 on the day. Did not play in the Illinois series last weekend. In the Ohio State series, she had 1 hit in 6 at-bats. She also had a hit in the Nebraska doubleheader. Remember, those were 2 losses for the Hawks. The first one was a 14-1 loss, and the second one was 7-3. Here's the 1-0 that becomes 1 ball and 1 strike. In that second game of the doubleheader against Nebraska back on April 12, Amber Desenna had a double in that game. Count even at 1 ball and 1 strike on the sophomore from Concord, California, Amber Desenna. Here's the 1-1 from Ellie Spellhog, a pitch that she dribbles along the ground, picked up from third base by Kaylee Pond. It does not give Sophia Morris a chance to advance from third, and so she'll still be there when Tristan Doster comes to the plate with 2 outs. We'll see if head coach Renee Gillespie elects to pinch hit for her. She does not, so Tristan will be at the plate. Tristan is 0 for 2. She bounced one back to Spellhog in the circle in her last at-bat and struck out in her first at-bat. Here's the pitch that's inside, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes on the freshman catcher for the Hawks, the number 8 hitter in the lineup, batting .276 coming into the game. Ellie Spellhog came in the second inning to spell Saya Swain in the circle and has been in there ever since. 2 balls and no strikes on Amber Desenna. Runner at third and Sophia Morris. 2 gone and Iowa's top of the 6th inning. Could use a run here. Here's the 2-0 to Desenna. Pitch that's inside. 3 balls and no strikes. Desenna had 2 hits in the first game of the doubleheader against Illinois last weekend and would score a run. In the whole weekend, she was 2 for 8. Doster is, excuse me. Here's a pitch that's hit to the right of second base, and a nice play by Casey Simpson. She went all the way to her right, backhanded the ground ball from Doster, and was able to pick it up and get it on to first base for the 3rd out of the Hawks in the top of the 6th. We move into the bottom of the 6th inning. The Iowa State Cyclones with the lead on the Hawks by the score of 4-2. They'll have the number 4 hitter, Malaysia Ochoa, at the plate when play resumes. This is Iowa Hawkeye softball on the Hawkeye Sports Radio Network YouTube channel.
Have you heard about this new type of television experience from Epson? It's called the Epic Vision Ultra Laser Projection TV. It combines a new type of laser projection technology along with a unique Epson Silverflex screen to produce an epic 120-inch 4K Pro UHD picture that's up to 4 times bigger than a traditional 60-inch TV. There's no better way to watch live sports, and watching Iowa basketball play live on this big, bright TV is simply awesome. If you're a sports fanatic like me, you need to check this new Epson TV out for yourself. Visit Epson.com/TV to learn more.
Much like Iowa, with closing weekends, the Iowa State University will be at Baylor this coming weekend down in Waco, Texas, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They'll be at Drake next Wednesday, and then they host Kansas May 6, 7, and 8 for their conclusion of the regular season. Again, Iowa at Northwestern this coming Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday's game is a 4 o'clock game that I'll have the broadcast for you. Saturday at 1 and Sunday at noon. Iowa will be at Northern Iowa next Wednesday for a 5 o'clock game, and the Hawks then will conclude the season, regular season, with Purdue at home the next weekend And hopefully those will be games that will be meaningful, of course, as they all are at this point. But Iowa will have a chance to get into that Big Ten Conference tournament. They only take the top 12. Iowa currently vying with Michigan State, Rutgers, and the Hawks for that number 12 spot. Purdue in there as well with 3 wins. So there are 3 other teams that the Hawks will be kind of battling with, and they only face one of them. That'd be the Purdue Boilermakers for the chance to eliminate them and give themselves a chance to get into the Big Ten Conference tournament. That all just ahead in the next 10 days. Malaysia Ochoa at the plate. Sophomore right fielder. Struck out in her first at-bat. Singled and scored, had an RBI single and scored back in the first inning, part of that 3-run first inning for the Iowa State Cyclones. She's down on the count at no balls and a strike with a foul ball. Denali Lecker in the circle for the Hawks. Here is the 0-1, an off-speed pitch that she hits down the left field line, and it'll drift foul. So she's down on the count at no balls and 2 strikes. This is the bottom of the 6th inning when the Hawks come back to the plate. Riley Sheehy, the number 9 hitter, will start it off for Iowa. Hopefully it'll just be a 2-run deficit going into it. Iowa State leading it 4-2. This is the bottom of the 6th. Here is the 0-2 that Denali Lecker throws a junk pitch that bounces across the plate and stopped there by Tristan Doster. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Malaysia Ochoa. Ochoa on the All-Big Ten freshman team a year ago. Here's the 1-2 from Denali Lecker. Ochoa swings that, drives it right at Kalena Burns. She reaches up and snags that line drive. And it's 1 out in Iowa State's bottom of the 6th inning. Just a hard shot down the first base line. And Kalena Burns, it was just above, a little bit above head high. And she got her glove up there, popped it up into the air, and then she was able to snag it for the first out. Alicia Ranchez, the junior shortstop, at the plate. She opened her day with a double, an RBI double, and then she would fly out to Nia Carter in right field, so she's 1 for 2 on the day. Batting .270 is Alicia Ranchez. Now 34 hits and 124 at-bats. Here is the 0-1. That's now 1 ball and 1 strike. She hit the 8th double of her season. That back in that first inning, the 3-run first inning. And she's even the count now at a ball and a strike. Denali Lecker in the circle, getting the pitch signal from the bench. Here is the windup and the release. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. So 2-1 on Alicia Ranchez, junior shortstop. Here's the pitch from Denali Lecker, one that Ranchez will get around on. She'll drive it down the right field line, and Nia Carter drifting off to her left and making the catch. 2 outs in Iowa State's bottom of the 6th inning, and Kaylee Pond will come to the plate. Kaylee 0 for 2, 2 ground outs in her at-bats. A .266 hitter. 29 hits and 111 at-bats, 7 doubles, a couple of triples, and a couple of home runs. Iowa State leading this game 4-2. It's the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series, the 2021-22 version. Iowa State leading the Hawks in points 12-11. This is the final competition in the series, so the winner will take all in the trophy. And the first pitch from Denali Lecker to Kaylee Pond, a strike. No balls and 1 strike on Pond out of Lafayette, California. Here's the next pitch. It's no balls and 2 strikes. So Denali Lecker ahead of Pond in this at-bat. No balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. I don't imagine she's going to waste a pitch here. Might go right after her to get her down. Here's one that's down and in, so it's a drop ball that bounces right at the plate. Tristan Doster able to block it and get it right back out to Denali Lecker. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Kaylee Pond. Sun beginning to fade out there in the west, although we still got a good few hours of sunshine, but you can see the shadow starting to get a little bit longer. Here's one that she'll dribble down the third base line and foul right at Jamie Pinkerton. He picks it up, hands it to Grace Baines, who will throw it back to Denali Lecker, and we'll go back to where we were prior to that pitch with a new pitch here at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Iowa State with the 4-2 lead here at the bottom of the 6th inning. The Hawks might be down to their last at-bat, and they've been able to do some things in their last at-bat. They did so last week against Illinois. Here's the 1-2 that bounces again in front of Tristan Doster. So it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Iowa scored 4 runs in the top of the 7th inning of the second game of the doubleheader against Illinois Sunday, losing it 5-4. And then in the first game would score 5 times in the top of the 9th inning to take a 7-2 lead, surrendered a run in the bottom of the 9th, 7-3. Here's a ground ball to Sophia Morris. Tried to backhand it. She tried to, from the glove to her hand, she just wasn't able to squeeze it well enough and get it to her hand. I'm not quite sure she would have been able to get Pond anyway. It was a slow roller to her, just a slap hit. And she was going to give it every effort that she had. We'll find out whether that was an error or not. And nevertheless, though, it'll put Kaylee Pond at first base for the first time today and bring up Casey Simpson. Casey Simpson is the senior second baseman, batting .240. She is 1 for 2 in the day. She singled back in the first. And it was her hit that Alicia Ranches was trying to score from second and was cut down at the plate on a nice throw by Riley Sheehy to Tristan Doster. With a 4-2 lead, 2 outs, runner at first. Here's one that's hit out to right field, right center field. It's going to go to the wall, and it's going to score a run. Here's Briley Klosterman getting to it. Now they've got, nice play. They got Casey Simpson in a rundown, and she is tagged out by Sophia Ramos. But nevertheless, the double for Casey Simpson scores Kaylee Pond from first base. And it makes it a 5-2 game, Iowa State. But Casey is tagged out by the shortstop, Sophia Morris. And that ends Iowa State, but they do get a run, and they lead it 5-2 as we head into the top of the 7th inning. It'll be Riley Sheehy, and then the top of the order when play resumes. It's Iowa State 5, Iowa 2. This is the Iowa Corn Cyhawks series finale in softball between Iowa and Iowa State right here on the Hawkeye Sports Radio Network YouTube channel.
Have you heard about this new type of television experience from Epson? It's called the Epic Vision Ultra Laser Projection TV. It combines a new type of laser projection technology along with a unique Epson Silverflex screen to produce an epic 120-inch 4K Pro UHD picture that's up to 4 times bigger than a traditional 60-inch TV. There's no better way to watch live sports, and watching Iowa basketball play live on this big, bright TV is simply awesome. If you're a sports fanatic like me, you need to check this new Epson TV out for yourself. Visit Epson.com/TV to learn more.
Well, we're winding down this 2021-22 Iowa Corn Cyhawks series between Iowa State and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Iowa State leading at 12-11 coming into this, the competitive finale, the softball game between these two. And it's really been a tremendous thing as we thank the Iowa Corn promoters for their sponsorship of this Iowa Corn Cyhawk series. That started. This is the 17th one, so it's back in 05, 04 when it got started, and it's just been a pleasant competitive event held between Iowa and Iowa State. Iowa State owns a 12-11 lead, 12 points to 11 points for Iowa. All the competitive games are 2 points for the winner, except for football, which is a 3-point reward. And Iowa won that, but Iowa State has won enough of the competition to take a 12-11 lead into this game right here. And again, the winner of this, if Iowa is able to come back and win this game, they will take the 2 points in the 13-12 and the series win. And if Iowa State wins, they already have a 12-11 lead. They will make it 14-11. Riley Sheehy at the plate looks at a first pitch strike here in the top of the 7th inning. Sheehy is 0 for 1. She walked in her first at-bat back in the second, and she grounded out to third. Here's one that she'll hit out to left field, and it'll drift foul and out of play. So she's down on the count at no balls and 2 strikes. Ellie Spellhog came in the top of the 2nd inning to relieve Saya Swain and has been there ever since. Of course, Spellhog is the leading pitcher with 114 and a third innings pitched coming into this appearance. So you're going to add to that. Here is the 0-2 to Riley Sheehy, one that's upstairs. And it's a ball 1. Again, Iowa at Northwestern this weekend. The game on Friday is a 4 o'clock game. I'll have that broadcast for you. Saturday's game's KXIC radio. That'll be a 12:50 start. And then Sunday at noon, I'll have that for you a little bit before the noon hour here on the YouTube channel. Here is the 1-2 that Roddy able to hold up on. It was high, and so it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. 5-2 the lead for Iowa State. They get a run in the bottom of the 6th inning to give them a little insurance and take the 3-run lead here in the top of the 7th. Here's one. Riley Sheehy will hit it between short and third, and she begins this top of the 7th inning with a single, and it'll bring up the top of the order in Bradley Klosterman. And nobody out. Bradley, the sophomore out of North Liberty, prepping at Iowa City Liberty High School. Had a tremendous high school career. Singled in her last at-bat and was stranded at first base. See if she can't do the same thing here. Here's the first pitch from Ellie Spellhog. And it's a pitch that she hits out into left center field, and she certainly does that. First pitch, base hit. And it moves Riley Sheehy on to second base. And so with nobody out, we'll see if head coach Renee Gillespie elects to have Nia Carter bunt to sacrifice them forward and let Denali Lecker come to the plate with a swing of the bat, can tie it, but at least with a good drive out into the gap somewhere can get a couple of runs scored. Head coach Trina Prater now talking to Nia Carter, building up her confidence, getting her some encouragement, telling her that she can step up there and do it. She's been doing it all season long. She's had 2 7-game hitting streaks, 1 6-game hitting streaks. So she's certainly very capable. She had 57 hits coming into the game leading the Hawks, but she struck out twice here and has grounded out, so she's 0 for 3. Has teammates at first and second base and nobody out. Top of the 7th, a 5-2 Iowa State lead. Here's the first pitch to Nia Carter from Ellie Spellhog, one that she hits out to left field. It's drifting foul and will go out of play. Everybody just kind of on pins and needles there to see if that was either going to drift out of play or be caught out there by Carly Spellhog in left field, and it does go out of play. So Nia Carter has an 0-1 count on her. Here's the 0-1 from Ellie Spellhog. And it's a pitch that's dribbled to shortstop. Oh, she does a great job to pick it up as the third baseman, Kaylee Pond, went to her left to try to pick up that ground ball, couldn't get it. In the meantime, Alicia Ranches, going to her right, does pick it up, and she beats Riley Sheehy to third base for the unassisted putout and the force. It does move Bradley Klosterman on to second, and Nia Carter at first base on the fielder's choice, and it's Denali Lecker at the plate. Here's the first pitch to her that's down and in, gets away from the catcher, bounces well back into the backstop, and it moves the runners forward. Bradley Klosterman on to third, Nia Carter to second, takes the force out of the play, and with one out, we'll see how they elect to pitch to Denali Lecker. Again, Denali has hit home runs, has hit a home run in 2 of her last 4 games. Well, 2 of her last 3 games coming into this game today. She hit a solo home run at Illinois in the Friday game, made the score only 4-2, and then she hit a home run in the game against Illinois on Saturday. And for Denali, that was a 2-run home run she hit in the top of the ninth inning, part of the 5-run top of the ninth inning the Hawks had to win that game. They went up 7-2. Illinois would come back with a run in the bottom of the seventh, but not nearly enough, and the Hawks would win that game over Illinois 7-3. Lecker now will step to the plate. 1 out, runners at second and third, Nia Carter at second, and Brody Klosterman at third. Iowa State took a short timeout, had Coach Jamie Pinkerton out to the circle to talk to their infield and kind of slow the pace here a little bit. Know that they just need to get an out somewhere. They can surrender a run somewhere. It's just they need to get the second out. Here is the first pitch to Denali Lecker, a pitch that's down and in. 1 ball and no strikes. Ellie Spellhog knows she's got to be careful with Denali Lecker. Can't give her anything out over the plate. Denali certainly with a good, strong swing and strength in those wrists to knock it ball out of the park. And she looks at a pitch now. It's 3 balls and no strikes. I guess at worst, if they can walk her. But then again, then you got Kalena Burns you got to deal with, and she's certainly very capable of the long ball. 3 balls and no strikes. I'm assuming that Denali Lecker will take this pitch, make Spellhog throw one. Here's one that's ball 4, and it bounces away from the catcher, and it becomes an immediate dead ball. And so the bases are loaded for Denali Lecker. Just needs a base hit, 1 out. And now it looks like Haley Down is going to, no, it's Riley Moss. Riley Moss, the freshman from Muscatine, is going to be pinch running for Denali Lecker here in the top of the 7th inning. Again, the freshman out of Muscatine is Riley Moss. She has played in a number of games, come in reserve roles, pinch running roles. She had 2 pinch running roles last week against Illinois. She now in her 9th on the season. Here is the first pitch to Kalena Burns. Actually, this is the 14th time that she has come in a pinch running role. Kalena Burns up in the count of the ball and no strikes. Here's the 1-0. That's now strike 1. Bases are loaded for the Hawks. We're in the top of the 7th inning. Got Roddy Moss at first. Nia Carter at second. Brody Klosterman at third. Kalena Burns at the plate facing Ella Spellhog in the circle. 1-1 count. Here's the pitch from Spellhog. A pitch that Burns gets around on. Boy, she knew she wanted that one. It was right down the middle, and she could only collect a piece of it and knock it foul. And she's down on the count of the ball and 2 strikes. For Kalena today, she popped up in her last at-bat, struck out in her second at-bat, and had an RBI double well back in the first inning that scored Denali Lecker from first base. She's got teammates at each of the white bags in the field. Down on the count of the ball and 2 strikes. He is the junior from Corona, California. Here's the pitch from Spellhog, one that she rips again down the third base line. Boy, she's taken some great cuts at these pitches from Ellie Spellhog. See if she just can't put one out there in the gap, get a hold of a good one. 1 ball and 2 strikes, 1 out. Here's the pitch from Ellie Spellhog to Kalena Burns. Here's the pitch, and it's down and in, but Kalena goes after it. She knows she has to protect. That ball was well out of the strike zone. Fortunately for Kalena Burns, she's able to foul it off and remain at bat. That was a very bad pitch, but she just was anxious, wasn't going to take any chances, lead to the umpire. Certainly it was, I mean, that ball was right on top of the ground when she swung at it and hit it. So she's down on the count of the ball and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch from Ellie Spellhog, one that she gets around on and will foul it back behind the backstop. That's a very good at-bat for Kalena Burns. Had a hit in the Illinois series in game number 3. She had 1 hit in 9 at-bats. Has a hit here today. And a nice stroke here with the bases loaded will help the Hawks tremendously. Here's the 1-2 again from Spellhog. One that Burns gets around on down the left field line and foul. Just off the left field line. She's getting around on those pitches. Just rips it foul, and it's just off of the left field line. So she remains at bat. Here she comes. Kalena Burns. Taking some big cuts here in this at bat. Here's the pitch now from Ellie Spellhog. And it's the pitch that's grounded to the right side to the second base. And they'll get the play at first base. It does score Klosterman from third. It moves everybody up a bag. And Kalena Burns, though, is thrown out at first base for the second out of the inning. It was a nice play as she had to go to her left was the second baseman Casey Simpson. She had only one play, and that was to first base. Now it's Sophia Morris time. See what Sophia can do with runners at second and third. Looks at a pitch that's strike one. Morris on the day. Reached on an error, walked, and flew out to center field. So she is 0 for 2. Here is the 0-1 tour that's called strike two on that outside corner. To the junior from Johnston via Des Moines Area Community College her first 2 years, and now at the University of Iowa, was the National Junior College Player of the Year last year. Out of Johnston. Down on the count at no balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs. Runners at second and third. Here's the pitch from Spellhog just off the plate. And she lets it go. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Sophia Morris. Playing shortstop. Plays a pretty mean shortstop. He's got a good glove. Nice strong arm. Count at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch from Ellie Spellhog. Morris lines it out between short and third. And the run will score from third, and Morris will go from first to second. She has an RBI single that scores Nia Carter, and it moves Riley Moss on to third, and we've got a 5-4 game. Nice piece of hitting there by Sophia to go with the pitch and go with it to the opposite field. And she now with an RBI, and it brings up Grace Baines with 2 outs. Grace grounded out to second in her last at-bat, struck out and doubled and scored back in the second inning. They're closing the gap here. Top of the inning, top of the last inning. They're doing this a lot. You know, it's just kind of a great habit to get into, if you will. Grace Baines, the sophomore out of Kansas City, Kansas, had at least 1 hit in each of the Illinois games last weekend, so she is on a 4-game hitting streak here with that double on her first at-bat. Here's the first pitch from Ellie Spellhog. And Grace gets around on it, hits it up to right field, and making the catch to end the game is Malaysia Ochoa. The Hawks get 2 across, have 2 runners on base, and Grace Baines will fly out to right field to end the game. What a great game it was. Unfortunately, the Hawks will come up on the short end of things, losing to Iowa State. And what that does for Iowa State, it gives them, it's an 8-7 softball lead for Iowa in the softball series and the Cy-Hawk series. And it ends Iowa State's 2-game win streak against Iowa in softball. It does make Iowa State then the winner of the 2021-22 Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk series competition with 14 points to Iowa's 11 points. So what a game that it was between these two very proud softball programs that came down to the very end. The Hawks just couldn't get over that hump again today to take the lead, tie it to send it to make Iowa State bad in the bottom of the seventh or take the lead and get the same result out of it. But nevertheless, it was a great game for both of these teams today. And again, the Iowa Corn Cyhawk Series goes to Iowa State for this academic season. Throughout the Iowa Corn Cyhawk Series, Iowa Corn promotes honest, hardworking values that are uniquely Iowan. On behalf of Iowa's corn farmers, we salute all fans and athletes for their hard work and determination to be the best both on and off the field. Just like our top athletes, our state leads the nation in corn and ethanol production. Follow Iowa Corn to learn how Iowa Corn grows Iowa. Well, that'll do it for this afternoon's broadcast between Iowa and Iowa State. Again, next up for the Hawkeyes will be the three-game series this weekend in Evanston, Illinois, against the University of Northwestern, the ranked number 11 in the country and top 25 of Division I softball. Friday's game is at 4 o'clock. I'll be talking to you a little bit before the hour of 4 o'clock. I'm Jerry Koala. Hope you've enjoyed the broadcast today on the Hawkeye Sports Radio Network YouTube channel. We'll talk to you again Friday as the Hawks head to Evanston and we'll face off with the Northwestern Wildcats a little bit before the hour of 4 o'clock on Friday. Have yourself a great rest of the week.